It's working good. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا ومن يهده الله ومن يضلل فلا هادي له ومن يهدي فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. So we were talking about the year of sorrow. Can somebody remind me what are the things which made it the year of sorrow? Yes.
Two of the most important people in Islam died in that. One of them being the Prophet Muhammad's uncle.
Yeah.
And also one of them being his wife as well, where his uncle was the external support, his wife was the internal support.
Yeah, and if you tell me the name of his uncle, it's 10 out of 10. What was the name of his uncle? If you can remember that, then brilliant, excellent. Wait.
Give me a chance.
Abu Talib?
Yes, brilliant, 10 out of 10. Well done. Come on. This thing is... So, as we said, that's the whole year is called a year of sorrow because of these very difficult things, difficult times in the life of Prophet ﷺ. And those are the two most important people. I won't call them in Islam, but they were the most important people in Prophet's life. And as you said very rightly, that one is the external support for him and one the internal support. So what happened is that, and the third thing was, did you mention the third thing or no? No. So do you remember the third thing?
His wife's name.
No, the third thing. So there were two people died, and there was another thing happened. Wait, let him think first.
Oh, he also went to the town.
Yes.
And he asked them if he could do it, but they said no. But the only thing he asked was that they didn't tell the Quraysh, otherwise they'd talk to them even more.
Yeah, exactly. Well done. Again, so the name of the town was? Taif. Well done. Okay, so these are the three things which happened. So the incidents of Taif, and the uncle and the wife, the death of the uncle and the wife. So so after that, because that was the low of the low for him, so and means it's very fitting that Allah will give him the best of the miracles after he had such a really bad time in his life. So that's why the scholars say that it was like a personal gift for him. So what was that personal gift? Isra al-Mi'raj. So that's what the personal gift was for him. That's the miracle. So the Isra, what does Isra means?
To travel at night.
Yeah, so the night journey. Well done, Shabash. So the night journey, Isra basically means the night journey. So that's any night journey, you can call it Isra. So Isra linguistically means the night journey. So al-Isra is used, al is to make it particular. So the night journey is the journey which Prophet ﷺ took from Beit al-Haram to Beit al-Maqdis and then back. So from Mecca to Jerusalem and back. So that's the night journey part. And Mi'raj, so Mi'raj actually is not the ascension of the Prophet ﷺ itself. Mi'raj linguistically means the apparatus or the thing on which he ascend up to heavens. And that's in Arabic, the elevator would be called Mi'raj. So anything which you use to go up, so is called Mi'raj. So the thing, the apparatus which you use to go up is called Mi'raj. So there are the problem with this Isra wal Mi'raj or any other stories in Islam is the and it's been mentioned in the Quran as well. Two surahs. Isra is mentioned in Surah Al-Isra. Mi'raj, which surah has been mentioned? The Mi'raj, which surah? Anyone? I was thinking somebody might say Surah Mi'raj because there is a name of Surah Mi'raj, but that's not the way the Mi'raj is mentioned.
That's a trick question.
Yes, so it says Surah Najm where it's mentioned. So Surah Najm, Mi'raj is mentioned in Surah Najm, and Isra is mentioned in Surah Al-Isra. So the thing is that this is the story which has been taken up by the storytellers or qassas as they used to be called, and the storytellers were the people who would go from mosque to place, and they will make gatherings and will tell stories, and that's we're talking about second, third generation. So in tabi'een's time, um, so so they added lots of things which are not authentic. So the earliest of the books, they haven't really mentioned those details which the more obscure and more peripheral kind of works have done. And they have come with such vivid details of Isra and Mi'raj, which is not authentic. And unfortunately, those things have kind of made their way into the books. And so it's there. It's present in our books. So, sorry?
And in the words of
Yeah.
definition as well.
Yeah, so there's lots of things which are there which are not true basically, which are just made up things. So one of the thing is that to sift through all of these stories, which authentic, which not. So that's why what I've been using is the scholar who actually has done that work, and he's taken all these authentic earliest sources books like Ibn Ishaq and all of those books, and has left all those stories which have come like 300 400 years afterwards, which are not present in. So where did they get those stories from? Nobody knows. So there are no chains, no nothing. So so that's one of the issues. The other thing is that Isra al-Mi'raj has a lot of narrations. I'm talking about the authentic narrations. So if you take the whole Makkan Seerah and you take Isra al-Mi'raj and the narrations which are available for Isra al-Mi'raj and take all the other narrations for the whole of the Makkan era, the Isra al-Mi'raj will be more than the rest of it. So it's a lot of narration. And these narrations are like the snippets. So, like you have gone and you have seen a football match, 400 people or 4,000 people or 40,000 people, and then they have gone back and they've really kind of given the information what happened there. So somebody has seen something and he is told, and then another person has seen something and has told another person. So now the person who is listening that's his job 100 years down the line to actually piece them together to make a story, which is very difficult. So chronological order, what thing happened at what time, is difficult. So that's why lots of differences in the books, in the story. But again, the scholars have done a lot of work and a lot of research and to try and make it piece together and make it one story. So we will see, inshallah. We will follow what's been done by the scholars, and hopefully that will give us some idea of what happened. In Quran, Allah says, Subhanalladhi asra bi'abdihi laylan min al-masjid al-harami ila al-masjid al-aqsa alladhi barakna hawlahu linuriyahu min ayatina huwa as-sami'ul basir. So Allah is actually praising himself for this. So Allah is saying, Subhanallah, that praiseworthy is the one who has taken his slave from Baytul Haram to Baytul Maqdis and back. So just because of this miraculous journey, Allah is praiseworthy. So Allah is saying that I am praiseworthy because of what happened on that night. The other thing is that there are some narrations, there are some books which mention there could be more than one Isra or Mi'raj, which doesn't seem to be the correct opinion. For the most important reason is that Allah says, "Bi'abdihi laylam." Laylam is singular, so it's just one night. So again, we have discussed all of that. So there are differences in authentic narrations as well. So there are big ahadith, but I haven't really copied all the ahadith like in full, but I've just taken the main part of it. So Prophet ﷺ said that I was in my house at night. I was sleeping in my house. And in other version, which are both authentic, they are both in Bukhari, he says that I was sleeping, I was in Hatim. So now how you would reconcile the Hatim? You remember Hatim, we discussed that the Kaaba used to be rectangular, but then they made it square and they left one portion open because they didn't have enough space, enough material to make it the rectangular, but they marked the area which used to be the Kaaba, but it's not Kaaba anymore. But they have made that semicircle. So whoever goes there, you've seen that semicircle now. So that part is actually the actual part of the Kaaba. So if you pray in that area, you basically have prayed inside the Kaaba. So that is Hatim. That's what we call Hatim. So how will we?
So what are the benefits of praying specifically in the Kaaba?
It's been mentioned, there are narrations mentioned a lot of barakah in praying in that area. So like praying in what's the name in Prophet's Mosque. There's a place.
I know what you mean. It's Jima.
No, Jannatul Baqi, Riazul Jannah. Yes, Riazul Jannah. Jannatul Baqi is the graveyard.
But there's equivalence to praying in heaven in that area.
Yeah, it says that.
Allegedly.
Yeah, so no, it says that Riazul Jannah, you pray, and it says that this is, because Prophet ﷺ, there's a hadith that this is part of the Jannah. Okay. And some scholars say that this is the actual part of the Jannah, or you will get the same reward as you're praying in Jannah, or maybe this actual land, this piece of land will be taken into Jannah at the time.
It's the green carpet.
It's the green part, well, yeah, Riazul Jannah, which called, yeah.
Is it the place where the Prophet's original mimbar was?
No, it's not. It's between the mimbar and his roza. So,
Yeah.
So Prophet ﷺ said, "Hada rozatum min riyadul jannah." So this is the part of, this is the garden from the gardens of the Jannah. So basically, or this is a piece from the land of the Jannah. So that's similar. There's lots of blessing and reward in praying. So back to the story. So in one narration it says that I woke up in my house. The Jibreel came, and the roof of the house opened up, and the Jibreel came when I was sleeping in my house. And in another narration it says that I was in Hatim. Both are correct. Both are authentic narrations according to the Sna. They are both in Bukhari. So how we reconcile? So the scholar says that he was in his house, then he was taken from his house to Hatim, and then from Hatim to Jerusalem, and then back. And then when and then he opened his heart. So it's the second time he had the open heart surgery. So one was the first time he had. Do you remember?
Black dot removed and.
Excellent. I was about to ask that question, but you have come to that one. But when did that happen? Remember? younger than that. So when he was around 4. Yeah.
Wasn't it when he went to when he was a child and he had gone to a different different city
Yeah.
and he was playing with other children, but then the angel Jibril appeared and took his heart and then done something and washed it in Zamzam
Yeah.
and then put it back.
Patted back. Yes, that's when he was 4 years old and he was living with Halima Sadiya.
Yeah. First time.
Did he actually take out his heart, or was it just washed inside of his body?
Well, it says it taken out.
No, okay.
So it's a miracle. Don't confuse it with surgery. Okay?
Yeah.
So, I've just said it's a miracle. Don't confuse it with surgery. So it's an angel doing the open heart, not some cardiac surgeon. So he took out his heart, and again in this narration, as you said, the one thing which is not mentioned is about that black spot, which is mentioned in the first time that there is when the Jibreel alayhi salam said the Haza Hazo Shaitan, so this is the Hazo Shaitan, which he took it out. But in this time, there is no mention of Hazo Shaitan. He washed it in a bowl full of Iman, and in another narration it says bowl full of Zamzam.
What's the one?
Iman, the faith.
Oh, believe.
Yeah, faith, belief. So he said that this is the bowl filled of Iman or bowl filled of Zamzam. So two narrations mention two different things. Basically, how you can reconcile again, probably it's been washed with Zamzam, but metaphysically you can call it that it was washed with Iman as well. Then the next thing is being narrated that Prophet ﷺ said that Jibreel brought me a dabba. Dabba means it's an animal. It's like a flesh and blood. So a thing which has got flesh and blood. It's a living creature that's called dabba. And he said that it's big, it's smaller than a mule, and bigger than a donkey. So and it's called Burak. So we all heard the name Burak, and we all have got some imagery in our mind of Burak. It's like a horse, big horse, white, with wings, shiny. Completely wrong. So, yeah.
I don't know what the difference between a donkey and a mule. I thought they were
So
the same thing.
they're not same thing. Mules are slightly bigger, and they are between the cross between the horses and the donkey. So they are breed hybrids between the donkeys and the horses. And mules are slightly bigger than the donkeys. So he's slightly smaller than the mule and slightly bigger than the donkey. So it's not a big horse, white horse, which we all seen the diagrams as a kid. And he has got no wings whatsoever. So the Burak has got no wings. So the Prophet ﷺ said that when he started to mount on him, and as any animal would do, the animal started jumping and got a little bit nervous. So Jibreel alayhi salam smacked him and said, "Woe to you, wayhak, or woe to you! Don't you know that nobody more blessed than your current rider has ridden you? So how dare you do like this?" So then he calmed down. Prophet ﷺ ride on the Burak and started going towards Baytul Maqdis. And he mentioned that his one gallop was equal to how far your eyesight can see. So how you can see? 5-10 miles. So one gallop, 5 to 10 miles. So within a split of a second, he was running 10-15 miles, whatever. So that's his speed. So he was very fast. And on his way, he passed by the grave of Musa. And what was he doing? He was standing and praying. So that's the hadith says that I saw Musa on my way. I passed by Musa's grave, and he was standing and praying in his grave. Then he reached Baitul Maqdis, and he tied his Burak outside Baitul Maqdis. So by that time, There is no Baitul Maqdis. Why is there no Baitul Maqdis?
Isn't it that it was controlled by the Persians and they made it into like a
Not Persians.
the the Rom
The Romans.
the Romans, so
Yeah.
it was like made into a like a I don't know, like a trash site.
Yeah, that's right. So because it was controlled by the Romans by that time, so and they didn't like Jews, so and it was Baitul Maqdis as considered as a holy site for them.
Is Burqa supposed to say?
Yeah, Barak. Yes, I noticed that. Thanks for yeah. It's not Burqa, it's Barak. Um, um, so it's um, yeah, so Romans change it into like a dump site. It's like a trash site.
They just leveled it basically.
Leveled it, and so Prophet ﷺ saw a masjid. So Allah brought a structure. Obviously, that's not in this dimension because the actual structure was destroyed. But Prophet ﷺ saw Baitul Maqdis. So Allah brought that Baitul Maqdis for Prophet ﷺ, which was not actually present. So the masjid was built way later. When was that built? Anybody? Hazrat Umar. So when Hazrat Umar radiallahu anhu, reconquered the Jerusalem, he built the masjid which we see today. Um, the Baitul Maqdis is the first Qibla, which was destroyed by the Romans. But then not Prophet, Hazrat Umar radiallahu anhu rebuilt it, which we see today. Masjid al-Aqsa. So
Dome of the Rock is different.
That's where the Barak went from Dome of the Rock.
yeah,
Is it Dome of the Rock?
it's the same area. Same area.
It's in the same area, but it's a different structure, isn't it?
It's a different structure, so it's not in Masjid al-Aqsa.
Yeah.
So it's not the part of masjid, but that's
Yeah.
the same area. But as I said, the masjid which we see today
Yeah.
is a more modern structure.
Okay.
So Baitul Maqdis, the original Baitul Maqdis,
Yeah.
has been destroyed,
Yeah,
which was
of
built many years ago. Yeah.
Wasn't it the Temple of Suleiman, like the original one?
Yeah, so that's the original one. But then that got destroyed and then was built again and then was destroyed again, and so it's
But the
been
reason-
destroyed
the
and
reason-
built
the
few
reason
times.
It was destroyed was because the Romans didn't like Jews. But what was Prophet Suleiman's message?
He was a Jew. He's from the son of Israel, so he's from Bani Israel.
Okay,
So he's from the Bani Israel.
so what, before Musa or after Musa?
No, after Musa, obviously. Yeah. So the Jews started from Musa alayhi salam.
But the Wailing Wall, that means that it was kept, because that is the wall that is left.
Yeah,
allegedly
so
from
some of-
the,
yeah.
Temple of Solomon.
Yeah,
So
so
that
s-
wasn't destroyed.
Yeah, some of it got destroyed, but I mean they didn't level it down to the level, but it
There
got
is
destroyed.
Mihrab of Maryam, and there are parts of it. So they're not the original one, Hazrat Umar.
The mosque which we see now is the one which was built at the Hazrat Umar's time.
But in the same compound, there is that area where Zakaria went to see Hazrat Maryam, who was praying and with the fruit and everything.
Yeah, means I don't know actually the whole detail because I haven't been to there myself. But the mosque which we see now is a more modern structure. The more detail inside, you have gone there. I don't know how things are now, but you can tell us more. But the actual building was the actual structure was destroyed by the
It
Romans.
sounds a bit like the Hadim in that some of it's been rebuilt and obviously some of it hasn't.
I mean,
Yeah.
it looks old, the walls, but inside is just beautifully carpeted and in modern as anything, but outside the walls are huge, and you walk another, I don't know, 20 meters, and then you get to the Dome of the Rock, and then we went down where the rock is itself, and our guide was leading our guide.
What were they telling? When from
That's where the rock was.
what time was that built? That
time
the
I can't
structure.
remember. He gave us a
Okay.
long lecture, but I can't
Yeah.
remember.
Because
names.
even the Umar radiallahu anhu, you have to remember that is 1400 years ago. So that is not new. The structure, when we say new, it doesn't mean new. It's still
But
1400
in the
years
context
ago.
of this journey,
There was no structure there
yeah,
at that
okay,
time.
Fine.
So
But he gave us a whole. We went down into the rock itself. We
Yeah.
saw it, and it's a tiny little place
Yeah.
anywhere, and he showed us this is the actual spot where the Barak took off from. That's what he was.
So again, I mean that's another one. So he didn't go up to Mi'raj on Buraq. So Buraq is just used for the journey between Baitul Maqdis and so the Mi'raj bit. We don't know exactly what the Mi'raj was, but they said that's some sort of an apparatus, some sort of a plane or shuttle or something. We don't know what that was. We don't have any clue. But Mi'raj was an apparatus which was used to take him from the earth to the heavens here.
Wasn't you said that the structure was brought for the Prophet to pray in, so it was the Prophet could see it and he went inside of it, but it was just it was in some other time and place.
Yeah, so it was some other dimension because you can see that this is a miracle.
Yeah.
So because we will talk about another thing just now in a minute, so you will understand what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So that's and he tied his Burak with a place where in the narration it says that it is the place which which was used for the prophets to tie their animals. So two things. One is there's a joke which the scholar who was doing should kind of told that joke, which I'm just saying that from this you can kind of take that the imam parking outside the mosque is allowed because the prophets had a special place for their animals to park, so you can have an imam parking, but that's not the point. So it means that Burak has been ridden by other people because when Burak started jumping, Jibreel alayhi salam said, "You have not been ridden by more noble person than your current rider." So it means it tells us it's been ridden before.
Didn't the jinns use the
Jinn has their animals as well. So jinns, we know that jinns have their animals. So there's a lot of other creations which we don't know of. Allah has created a lot of like Burak, like jinns and like jinns animals. So jinn have their animals, which in hadith we know of. So the other thing is that so Prophet ﷺ tied the Burak and went inside. Then again, there is two different narrations. One, he says that he started praying, and by the time he finished, he saw all the prophets lining behind him. And do we know how many prophets there are?
Thousands.
Yeah, how many?
125,000.
550,000.
Not 50, you're right.
125,000.
Close, 120,000. 120,000 says in one of the hadith. So around 120,000. So 120,000 prophets and 300 and some 315 prophets. Sorry, the Rasuls, messengers. So 313 messengers and total of 12,000. Sorry, 120,000 prophets. And they were all standing in one row. So that you can imagine that we are talking about a different dimension. 120,000 long row. No matter how big the structure was, you can't really make one row of 120,000 people in that structure. So we are talking a metaphysical dimension here. So it's difficult to kind of use your own minds with the knowledge which we have today, that what kind of structure was that and what Prophet ﷺ saw. In another narration, Prophet ﷺ met different prophets, and then when the time to pray came, he was made the imam. So in one narration, he didn't knew about other prophets, but once he finished, he just saw that all the prophets are behind him praying. And in another narration, he was actually aware of other prophets and they made him the imam and he prayed.
Was it namaz or just
Namaz, yeah. So
namaz?
two rakah.
Just two rakah.
Yeah. So for as like, I don't know, maybe like Tahiyyatul Masjid, because he has entered the masjid. Whenever you enter the masjid, you have been asked to read two rakah, which is called Tahiyyatul Masjid. So whenever you enter masjid, you should start with praying two rakah if you have time.
Wait, this is off topic, wait, is it that if the imam is late or can't arrive on time, someone else starts the prayer, and when the Imam comes, they move back so the Imam can lead the prayer again? Is that allowed?
I didn't get your question, but
Is it allowed? Is it a thing where if the Imam is late, someone else starts the prayer? And
no,
then-
no. So you can't change the imam mid namaz. Is that if you was talking about?
Yeah.
No. So if somebody has started, they will have to finish.
Okay.
So he talked to different prophets. He talked to Prophet Ibrahim, Prophet Musa, Prophet Isa. He's mentioned them, and Prophet has actually described them as well. And he says Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam is very much like me. So he says he resembles me. Prophet Musa, he said that he's tall, he's dark brown color, and he's very stout, and
What does stout mean?
like muscular.
I was thinking short.
No, sorry, he's muscular, he's tall, and he's dark brown color, and he looks like the people of the tribe of Shanua. We don't know what the tribe of Shanua looks like, but he described him like that. And Prophet Isa said that he is slightly smaller height and with long hair, which looks like glistening, as somebody has just come out of the steam bath.
Why did you write, why was he crying from this surface?
I will tell you. Don't jump forward. Wait. And he said that he's had long hair, and he had some like whitish complexion. So that is our Islam. And then Prophet ﷺ was taken on Mi'raj. Then Jibreel took him on Mi'raj to the heavens. So what's the difference between as-samawat and al-jannah? So the problem is that in English you call them heavens.
Okay.
So what's the difference?
Isn't it like there's the first 6 are like separate? I don't know how to like put it in words, and then the 7th one is the one where all the jannahs are in the last 7.
Yeah, I mean, you are right. To some extent, says yes, you are right. So samawat is like, so all what we can see, the whole of our universe. So this is the whole universe, everything in the universe, what we can see or not see. This is the first sama. Okay, so this is first. Say, for example, our earth is here. After that, there is a second sama. After that, there is a third, and then fourth, and then fifth, and then sixth, and then the 7th. And after that, on top of the 7th sama, there is a kursi, and on top of the kursi, there is a throne of Prophet ﷺ, Allah, and Allah is over there.
You said isn't on top of the kursi or on the kursi? Kursi means chair, right?
Kursi is chair, yes, you're right, but the kursi, we're talking about the kursi, which we don't know what that looks like.
Okay.
So we don't know the kursi. And then there's a throne, the takht of Allah on the kursi. But we are talking the different kursi here, the divine kursi. It's not the same kursi as what we
Something
see.
beyond that contemplation.
Yeah, we can't think of that. What happened to this thing now? Again? Last week.
Last week he did the same thing.
Yeah.
Okay. So, because I need to see the topic, I will just restart it. Sorry about that.
Go through the one of them is milk and another is wine bit.
Yeah, so Prophet ﷺ, before he went up, Jibreel alayhi salam came and he gave him 2 bowls. One had milk and one had wine.
Was the wine
Like the wine.
non-alcoholic?
No, it was the wine.
It was just wine.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you have to remember that it was not haram by that time. wine, but Prophet ﷺ never drank wine.
Okay.
Prophet ﷺ chose milk, and Jibreel alayhi salam said, "You have chosen wisely." He said, Jibreel alayhi salam said, "Choose for yourself and for your ummah." And Prophet ﷺ chose milk, and he said, "You have chosen wisely, because it is full of nourishment, and milk is tayyib, milk is clean, milk is pure, which comes from a pure source. Wine, we all know, it's corrupted, and it comes from the corruption of the juice. And there's nothing good comes out of the wine. So that's what happened. So Prophet ﷺ went up to on the Miraj to the first heaven, and there's a door, and Jibreel Islam asked the gatekeeper of the first heaven that let us come in. He says, say salam, and he said, who is with you? Are you alone or somebody is with you? He said, no, Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is with me. He said, does he have the permission to come? And the gatekeeper said, does he have the permission to come? And Jibreel Alayhi Salam said, yes, he has the permission from Allah to come. So he said, okay, come. And then they passed. And on the first heavens, he saw, which looks like an old man, and Jibreel Alayhi Salam said, this is your father Adam, go and say salam to him. And Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam went and said salam, and he welcomed him. He said, welcome my noble son and noble prophet. And then they went up to the second heaven. Same thing happened. The Jibreel Alayhi Salam had to ask permission from the gatekeeper. He said, who is with you? Are you alone or somebody is with you? He said, no, there is somebody with me. He said, has he got a permission to come in? And he said, yes, he has got permission to come in. Then they went inside the second heaven, and in the second heaven he saw Isa and Yahya. So they are the ones who welcomed him. And Prophet ﷺ said, those two were there. Jibreel said, these are your brothers, Isa and Yahya. Go and say salam to them. And when he went and he said salam, and they welcomed him, said, welcome, O noble brother and noble prophet. So then he went out on to the third heaven, and he saw, again, with the gatekeeper, just keep on repeating the same conversations happening with the gatekeeper on every time he's going to the next level.
Wouldn't they know that if he's the prophet, then he was obviously allowed up there?
Yeah, but then he has to take permission.
You have to go through.
To have to go through some sort of a portal which is being guarded by an angel, and so we don't know. That's the thing. We are just making assumptions, but we don't know exactly how it works. So there's some sort of a portal which he's going through. So he has gone through and come back in one night. So you have to remember, we are talking about some sort of
I get
metaphysical.
that, but would they not just know he's allowed to go wherever he was going?
Even they don't have ilm al-ghaib, the angels. Allah knows everything. Angels are given certain knowledge, and whatever they are given, they know that.
Okay, fair enough.
And they do their job.
And they do their job. They don't ask the question, they just do it without asking anything.
Isn't it a bit when you've gone on a plane and after that there's all those checks you have to go through?
Yeah, you can compare it to the plane journey and all the checks you have to go through on the door, and then you go in and then you give the boarding pass, and somebody tells you, yeah, that way. Just it's one long tube. They still have to tell you where your seat is, how to go to that long tube.
And they ask for your pass again.
Just a quick question. Why is Adam alayhi salam on the in the first heaven?
We will discuss that. We will discuss that. That is something which we will, I mean, there are some symbolism. Obviously, we don't know exact answers to that, but there are some symbolisms which we can derive, and we will discuss that, inshallah. Where are we? Here. Okay, so So the next thing is, so the next one was Idris. No, sorry, the third one was Yusuf. On the third one, he saw Yusuf alayhi salam, and Yusuf alayhi salam, he said, "Oh, this is your brother Yusuf. Go and say Islam." And Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam has mentioned that Yusuf uh, looked like a very handsome man, as half of the beauty has been given to Yusuf. Half of all beauty has given to Yusuf. Um, so the next one, again, he goes to the next level, next Sama, and again the same conversation happens. Then he saw Harun, and he says, "This is your brother Harun." Say salam to him. He says, "Welcome, O my noble brother, and O my noble and noble prophet." And then the next one was Musa, and again, as I said, he's mentioned that he's stout, tall, muscular, brownish man. And when he saw him, he started crying, and he said, "Why are you crying? If it is about stout."
No, it's
Okay.
white pine.
What? Yeah, I'm just telling you about that. So, um, so he said, it's when he saw, no, thank you. Um, why he started crying, and he said, "Why are you crying?" And Prophet Musa Islam said that I see a ghulam. Ghulam means some young man. Young man is called ghulam. So although Prophet Sallallahu, how old was he at by that time?
Like 50 something.
Yeah, 53 or 50 something. Yeah, 50 something you can say. So he's over 50, but as compared to Musa, he's still a young man. Prophet Musa Islam died 150 plus. So for him, he's just a young man. So he said, "Here's a ghulam. He has got a bigger nation than mine, and he did dawah for a long, long, long time, and he still had a smallish ummah, and Prophet ﷺ has a bigger ummah than his, and he's crying that Allah has given him that blessing that his ummah is bigger than my ummah."
So what? It was jealousy.
It was kind of a jealousy, you can say that, yeah, a positive jealousy, or there's no real word for admiration, you can call it.
Competitive.
Yeah, competitiveness,
You could even say
admiration.
tears of joy, because he's saying, look, he's a young
Man, and
he's
it could be
achieved so much.
so in such a young age. Yeah, it could be tears of joy, but it could be just admiration or something. So that's why he was crying. So in the next heaven, again, the next heaven, he saw Ibrahim alayhi salam. Ibrahim alayhi salam. The Jibreel alayhi salam said, "Hey, your father Ibrahim, say salam to him." And he said, "Welcome, O my noble son, and welcome, O my welcome, noble prophet." Um, so you again see that Adam alayhi salam and Ibrahim is calling him son. The rest of them are calling him his brother. So for the rest of them, his brother. But Ibrahim alayhi salam and Adam alayhi salam, they are like the fathers of the Anbiya. Adam, father of everybody. So he's the one who's the human race started. And Ibrahim is called the father of all the Anbiyas, because he's the one from which the whole Semitic prophets all arise from him.
So the Jews and the Christians.
Jews, Christian, Muslims, we are all
Abraham.
the Abrahamic faith. So your question, wisdom of choosing the prophets in that order. Adam alayhi Islam is the father of all mankind, so he's befitting that he's the first one to
Oh, so
greet him.
So they don't stay in that particular level of heaven. They
No,
can
no.
move.
Well, Allah brought them, so they are like welcoming parties.
Oh, I'm with you. I'm
This is
with you.
just
Okay.
to receive him.
So they are just there to welcome Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So they are all probably in barzakh, because that's what we know, that once you die, you will remain in barzakh till the day of judgment, and then you will enter your Jannah. So they are probably in the realm of barzakh. What barzakh is, we don't understand completely. There is another dimension where everybody is, They're
So
probably
my
there.
understanding is the prophets, all of them are in Barzakh, but we as humans will all be obviously within our individual graves.
No.
Or is there some overlap between the two?
Yeah, Barzakh. When we die, we go
Okay.
into Barzakh.
Okay.
Everybody will go into Barzakh.
I thought there was a
Yeah.
distinction.
No. So we all go into Barzakh and
Like
we will all be
purgatory.
Barzakh.
It's like purgatory.
It's, sorry, what?
Similar.
Purgatory. Do you not know what purgatory is?
Purgatory is negative, it's like kind of a hell.
It's like
No,
No.
it's not.
people.
Purgatory is,
People are
It's
they
a
like
language.
The Barzakh is another state for humans or for their souls.
it's a basic.
Once you die,
Once
let
you
me
die.
just explain.
Okay,
So
yeah.
once you die, you go into Barzakh and then you stay in Barzakh.
Yeah.
And there's a hadith which says that either it could be from the part of the Jannah or it could be from a part of the hell. So either you can be punished if you are not a good person, you will be punished in Barzakh.
Yeah.
So you will get, like, there will be a window of hell open into your Barzakh and a window of heavens open into your Barzakh. So either you are enjoying your Barzakh time or you will be really miserable in your Barzakh
Okay, so
time.
basically, purgatory is like.
But
the-
that's what the sister's saying. I think
It's a
she's right in the
negative,
sense that
purgatory
for
is-
for the Catholics,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's particularly that is that concept. Purgatory is that negative element of Barzakh where you're being punished
Is it really?
prior to that
I thought it was just that you stayed there.
no,
Until you were
There's
accepted
definitely a
to heaven.
negative
Yeah.
connotation.
Oh, okay.
So is it basically a bit of a foresight to which you might be tipping towards
Yeah.
to?
Yeah. So Barzakh, if you are enjoying in Barzakh, that pretty much tells you that you will be going into Jannah.
The right
You have
place.
yeah. So you
The
are
thing with purgatory is Catholics don't believe that Catholics go to hell. They go to purgatory, and instead of heaven, they go to purgatory. When they've completed their time in purgatory, then they go to heaven. So there's no Catholic
remand.
hell. Yeah, it's remand. There's
yeah.
no Catholic hell.
To some extent, we have got the same
Philosophy.
belief as well.
Yeah.
But the Muslim can go to hell, but it would not be for hell permanently.
Yeah.
So they will go to
No,
hell.
but they don't believe in hell at all.
Yeah. So they will go into. I mean, our belief is
Yeah.
that even if you are a Muslim, you can go to hell to be purified
To be punished.
from your sin. So once you have done that, then you will go to paradise in the end.
How long will that take?
It depends on what you have done.
Yeah.
Not necessarily you. I mean, whoever. Yeah. So don't be scared. Just try not to go there.
I'm scared.
So.
Terrified.
Yes.
So Adam al-Islam is the father of all mankind, so that's why he's there. Isa and Yahya are chronologically the closest to him, so he's just before him. So that's why they are in the second. Again, these are derived by the scholars. So there is nothing that Prophet ﷺ said they are there because of this reason.
Okay.
So the scholars are reading into.
That's interpretation.
Yeah, so they are getting the wisdom. So it's somebody's thought. Somebody else might disagree with it and find another reason for why they are in that order. But for sure, don't make it that this is not as their status. So it's not that the Ibrahim al-Islam is the highest ranked, that's why he's in 7th, and the next one is the second lowest. So it's not their ranks. Okay, so it's just they are welcoming for whatever reason. And why Allah chose them to be in that heaven, Allahu alam. But that's what we think why he's there. Yusuf, again his own brothers tried to harm Yusuf, but eventually they repented and re-accepted him back. Same happened to Prophet ﷺ. All the Quraysh tried to kill him, they rejected him, but in the end they all accepted Islam after the Fateh Makkah. Idris al-Islam, Allah has raised him to a high place. There are two people who are not dead. Which are those?
Sorry, say it again.
There are two people who are not dead.
Two prophets.
Is
Two,
it Isa?
well, two
Yeah,
humans,
individuals.
yeah, two individuals.
Idris?
So one is, which we all know, is who is the most
Jesus.
famous one? Jesus, Isa al-Islam, and the second one is Idris. And the story goes that the angel of death came to ask him, to take his soul, and he said, "Well, show me where I'm going first." So he showed him his place in heavens, and he said, "I'm not going back. I'm staying here. So you can go back. So I'm not going back to earth so that you can take my soul. I'm here.
Oh,
I'm
he took him
happy."
to show him, and he
So
said,
he
"I'll
said,
stay."
yeah, he took him to show his place in Jannah. He said, "That's it. I'm not going back. So that's it. I'm here." So he never died. So he's there, and Isa alayhi salam is there.
Is he still going to be there at the day of judgment?
Yeah, everybody will be there.
Wait, so Issa's gonna come back, die, and then go back. Okay.
Yeah. So
That's a long story.
longer than that, but yes, the
Yeah,
the
so
gist
that's
of it
just
is
like,
Idris alayhi salam. We all know the story. Now we have just discussed. Harun alayhi salam was the brother of Prophet Musa, and he's the younger brother of Prophet Musa. So he's welcoming him before Musa. Musa alayhi salam has the second largest ummah amongst all the prophets, and he has similar experiences as Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam of people because he had such a large ummah, so he's had the similar experiences. And
His Ummah meaning Jews.
his ummah is Jews, yeah. So
But the Ummah should be after, that should be Christians?
his ummah,
No, if you're talking about population or the
No, but it's
quantity,
specific to that prophet
at the time, at the
Oh.
time of the Prophet
that would be Christians then, at the time of Prophet.
Musa alayhi salam.
No.
The largest.
Yeah, the largest.
No, no,
Christians
they-
and Jews
they-
were really,
Yeah, but the Christians didn't accept Isa. Not a lot of people accepted Isa at his time, at his lifetime.
in Isa's lifetime. Oh yeah, there
Yeah.
were just 12 people.
Yeah, so they didn't. So
Okay.
it wasn't a big ummah. So yes, but later on, people started following him, or especially his disciples. But at the time, not a lot of people. So they were all Jews. So not a lot of people actually followed him. So that's why his ummah, his actual ummah, which followed him, was very small. So Ibrahim alayhi salam is the father of all prophets. So he's in the, and the hadith says that when I saw him in the seventh heaven, he was sitting with his back resting on Baytul Mamur. What is Baytul Mamur?
Is it like a Kaaba in the heaven?
Yeah. So this is so it's like a Kaaba in the heavens, and it says in one of the narrations, it says if it to fall, if Baytul Mamur to fall on the ground, it will fall on top of the Kaaba. So it's like right.
All
So
right.
there's the Kaaba of the heavens, and Prophet ﷺ said that there are 70,000 angels which come to do tawaf every day in Baytul Ma'mur, and none of those 70,000 angels will come back to do another tawaf. So every angel who's done the tawaf, he will not get a chance to do another tawaf. So there's, from the time, beginning of the time, 70,000 angels are doing tawaf every day till the day of judgment. Now you do the math. How many angels are there? Who knows?
A lot.
A lot. Yeah. So lots and lots of angels. So every day 70,000 angels do a tawaf, and they will never come back till the day of judgment. And every day the new 70,000 come.
Is that the meaning that Kaaba now, there's angels surrounding Kaaba, like metaphorically they say it's protecting Kaaba too?
I mean, so to be honest, all mosques, hopefully, we all hope that there will be angels, because there's a hadith that whenever there are people sitting doing the zikrullah, like we are, inshallah, doing, and we hope that Allah's angels are there asking and praying and asking for the blessing and praying for that gathering. So then whoever, in all the mosques, there are such gatherings happening, and there are angels in every mosque. And Baitul Kaaba, there are 24/7 people there doing tawaf, doing zikr, doing everything. So angels are there all the time. But those angels are different to what Baitul Mamur we are talking about. Baitul Mamur is in heavens, and there are angels, only angels doing tawaf, because there are no people there. Does that answer the question? Yeah. And I think because it's already over 9, and I know everybody has to go to work. Should we carry on or should we just leave it? Because it will take few more like sessions to finish Isra al-Miraj. It's not a small thing, so it will take 2-3 sessions inshallah to finish it. So we will, just one thing which is written, we'll just mention and then we'll finish. Allah says that um, uh, Allah has taken Ibrahim and myself as Khalil. Khalil is like the close confidant. And that's why I can't take anybody Khalil. If I could, I would take Abu Bakr as my Khalil. So Prophet said to Abu Bakr that Allah has taken myself and Ibrahim as his Khalil. Otherwise, I would have chosen yourself my Khalil. Because Allah has taken my Khalil, I can't choose another Khalil for myself. If I had the chance, if I had the choice, I would choose you as my Khalil. That's a big blessing for. It's like a close confidant, very close friend, someone who's very close to you, more than a brother. He's like very close confidant, who you can speak to, share everything.
Confidence like someone who works for you.
So like